A happy Sunday morning to you. This Vermont Utility Outlook is valid the rest of today, Sunday, through next Saturday, October the 31st. Well, growing utility concern this week will be the pressure gradients tightening up and some strong wind gusts. This from an area of strong low pressure that'll be crossing and developing through the Great Lakes region with rapid intensification as it tracks through Canada from the Great Lakes into the lower Hudson Bay region. This will be taking place Wednesday afternoon into Friday, with the worst of the winds Wednesday night. If you look carefully here, you can see Patricia, and it is a lowest barometric pressure reading, of course, on the western hemisphere. Luckily, it came ashore in areas that were sort of in between the major cities. And the moisture from Patricia has made it all the way up into the Texas Gulf Coast region, into Oklahoma, being stretched and pulled, and even into the northeast United States, translating with the last weather system. And we're seeing a transition take place right now. Let's take a look at that. Well, overlaid is the 500 millibar chart pattern, and you can see the flow coming in from the west-northwest. Water vapor imagery shows the heaviest moisture working off to the southeast as a cold front is moving through today. It's allowing for temperatures to get bumped up in the 50s shortly for a short period of time, and then we're going to see cold air advection behind that system. But notice also drying conditions set the stage as an area of higher pressure at surface is going to be building across our region. Let's switch to that real quick. Surface pressures are still quite strong, but the strongest winds affecting mainly the northern part of the Champlain Valley with gusts near 50 miles an hour did move off overnight, and so far the winds are calming down, and they're going to be under thresholds the rest of today with a kind of a transition day in progress. Of also interesting note here, this is the leftovers of a non-tropical area of low pressure that's working across the Gulf Coast states, and with that moisture, and flooding rains expected. And the NCAR Wharf Ensemble shows the situation here for those Gulf Coast residents from parts of Texas right into Louisiana and so forth. You can see pretty amazing amounts of rainfall here. And over the course of the next couple of days, we're going to be seeing these amounts, it looks like in greater than 7 inches easily, and probably up closer to 10 inches. Weather Prediction Center, 7-day total QPF, total accumulated precipitation shows excessive rainfall across parts of Louisiana and the Gulf coastal states, mostly along the coast. And then some of that kind of bleeds out and does get sort of mixed up in, with this main weather system we're going to be seeing that'll be taking place on Wednesday into Thursday with about 1.5 inches of moisture. We're talking rainfall here, no snow to be worrying about except the upper tops. That won't happen until late in the week, but really not a whole lot of worries in terms of snow. This is a 10-day snowfall by the European model, valid into the middle of next week. And we're looking pretty clean here across a large area of the lower 48 United States, except for the higher upper elevations, of course, of the Sierra, the Intermountain West, and of course the Rocky Mountains. And looking at the 6-hour panels here, precipitation, isobars at surface, you can see high pressure, 1033 millibars, looks like over about almost the Finger Lakes region. And this is going to be controlling our weather really for Tuesday and Wednesday with some, Monday and Tuesday with some great project weather, with a transition today on Sunday. So this 1035 millibar high pressure system will then depart. The pressure gradient will then tighten up. And as it does so, we're looking at the gusty gradient winds along the western slopes of the Green Mountains, pretty much statewide, a little bit stronger in northern areas than southern areas as indicated right now. And this could change, a little uncertainty this far out, but it does look like we're in for a pretty good blow. Now, the intensification, 979 millibars here, this area of low pressure, very, very strong, crossing Hudson Bay, and then kind of wheels up into the eastern Hudson Bay region. And as it does so, it will see strong winds on the front end during the middle part of the storm as well, the middle part of the circulation, as well as on the back end with some gusty northwest winds. So we're talking about a pretty good blow here. This is one of the more blustery type weather systems we've seen so far this fall, and certainly the strongest wind event. Again, peak of the winds look to be, and we'll look at this here in a second, but the peak of the winds will be during this time frame, roughly during Wednesday night. This is valid about 2 o'clock in the morning. Very strong pressure gradient. However, we also got some ejection of this surface low, a lot of precipitation, a lot of moisture with high P watts working in. So if you look back at the evolution here, you can see that this area of low pressure falls apart. It ejects all its moisture to the north, gets caught in the secondary development of this storm system in the upper Midwest, and then it tracks into our neck of the woods. So the main issue for utilities will not be precip so much. It'll be just gusty winds. And here's how those winds look. We have an area of higher pressure that'll build in with very light winds Monday and Tuesday. And as we get along the back side of that area of low pressure, once again, you can see those oranges. And these illustrate wind gusts in greater than 50 knots. So some pretty good winds here, no doubt about it. And the models seem to be relatively fairly good in their consolidation and locking on to this particular weather system. And notice on the backside we have very strong winds out of the west or northwest, and this will continue to blow, slightly weaken as it heads into Vermont, with anything basically in those lighter greens being a little bit more of a concern. Anomalies for max temperatures for the next 5 days show near normal, and this of course is all balanced out with a bit of a sine wave pattern. We'll show you that here, this oscillation of a roller coaster temperature ride. Roughly about 3 days later, not a whole lot of change. So temperatures today max out in the 50 to 55 degree range. Looks like a cold, somewhat frosty night. Much cooler during the day tomorrow, Monday. High pressure and control. Great project weather days right here. These 2 days, basically Monday and Tuesday. And then we start to see a ramp up in temperature with the approach of a pretty strong southerly wind. And it looks like the warmest day this week will be temperatures up around 65 degrees. That'll be taking place on Thursday. The strongest winds to worry about here will definitely be Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, and into Thursday morning. A little bit of a lull, and then on the backside of this system, it'll force cold air advection. We'll see a drop in temperature with a cold front, and that'll take place the rest of Thursday into the day on Friday. And we bottom out with the coldest temperatures back down to about 25 degrees, nothing we haven't already seen before. Right now, not all the models are catching on the stronger wind gusts basically into Wednesday, but you can see some indications here, gusts up around 45. That's the GFS model. The European model is even stronger with that. Wind gusts in this particular realm on Wednesday night look like they could even be up around 60 miles per hour in some of those more favored downsloping areas along the western slopes of the Greens. And a quick look at the longer range. NCEP's CFS ensemble shows cooler than normal weather really for the next few days, and then those temperatures making a little bit of a return and coming back up as we head toward the end of the month, and roughly about centerline, so no real extremes. A couple warm spots here, potentially along November 3rd, and then looks like we cool on down with a cooler spot here down the road a piece. This is not till November 18th. You can take this with a grain of salt, but sometimes these do give you a little bit of a trend and indication where the coldest air may be coming, and I would say the period 17th to the 19th is one of those. And post-mortem on the strong winds across the Champlain Basin last night, Lake Champlain in particular, we did get winds up around 45 miles per hour, but not a whole lot of outages. Did see a few during the overnight period. This is good through about 2 o'clock last night. That's it from here, Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.